Welcome, Maresca, Martin and Duff, all announced in new managerial roles in the Championship. Here's my take on how they'll do. Let's start with the one we know best, Russell Martin, who is finally confirmed as Southampton boss after a long compensation delay with Swansea. He got the Swans job 2 years ago on the back of his work at MK Dons. Yes, they played lovely passing football in League One, but never finished in the top half. You could say similar at Swansea, where he finished 15th and 10th, but let's not fall into that tedious trap of only looking at the league table. At MK, players were developed and he certainly laid the groundwork for the third place finish they got the year after he left. At Swansea, it was a complete reset when he arrived that needed doing after the Steve Cooper, Andre Ayew era. At their best, Martin's sides are superbly coached. They keep the ball beautifully and win games by sheer domination. At their worst, they're overcoached, predictable, fragile, and the style becomes too easy to counter and then a weakness rather than a strength. Will he succeed at Southampton? Well, he's going to get better players than he's ever had before and more money for transfers and wages than he's ever had before. Surely, if his coaching is as good as we think he is, then that's a win. The difficulty is, at a team who's just come down, he'll have more expectancy than ever before as well, and so he's not exactly guaranteed to get the time he needs to get that style working. Sink or swim time then for Russ Martin. Saints have 3 years parachute payments. If they're patient, he should be able to get them back during that window of time. Over to the owners, I guess. Replacing Martin at Swansea will be Mike Duff in what is probably one of my favourite changes in style we'll get in the EFL. If Swansea fans were bored of slow build-up play, then they're about to get the exact opposite. Duff took Cheltenham up from League 2 to League 1 and then kept them there before he joined Barnsley last season. In a freakishly tough League 1, he took Barnsley to 4th into the playoff final. They lost in the 123rd minute, having played over an hour with 10 men. They were very close and very unlucky. Swansea fans can now expect to see their back three sat on the halfway line with one midfielder in front of them and the rest of the side pressing like absolute madmen for the entire game. It's pretty direct, very intense, but really good fun. Very exciting to watch, actually. You can probably tell I'm a really big fan of Duff, but word of warning to the Swans fans, it did take a few months for things to click last season at Barnsley. In theory now, he has far better players, but the squad he is inheriting has been built to play a completely different style. There will need to be players come in, maybe Anderson and Connell might follow him there, but when it clicked at Barnsley, they started winning and didn't really stop. Very, very quick reminder, if you do enjoy what we do here on the channel and you think you might be able to support financially, then head over to Patreon for some extra content and the chance to debate me and the gang in our regular roundtable shows. And now to the biggest unknown quantity, that is Enzo Maresca at Leicester. He is new to the EFL and other than a very short stint in Italy, new to being a first team boss. So he's inexperienced and young for a manager at 43, but there is plenty of pedigree there, including 2 separate spells in the Man City system. The second one putting him very close to one Pep Guardiola. Pep is now starting to build quite the coaching tree and there will be plenty of comparisons to Vincent Kompany, who won the Championship with freshly relegated Burnley. The comparisons, I guess, make some sense, but look, they are totally different people on totally different paths and in totally different situations. In many ways, Maresca's task is less complex than Kompany's at Burnley, as he had to build an entirely new squad and totally change the style. Yes, Leicester are going to lose some pretty big players in summer, but those who remain shouldn't be miles off being able to do what Maresca wants, and if they bring in what we expect in player sales, he should have the biggest talent budget in the division by far. So as I suggest, it's far more of an unknown than Martin at Southampton or Duff at Swansea. I'd say Maresca is probably under the most pressure, but then out of the three owners, I'd have Southampton probably the most likely to fire a manager who wasn't quite performing. The King Power guys were very patient with Brendan Rodgers. Some Leicester fans tell me a bit too patient. We all know though, with a year one parachute team, if you are not within a couple of games of getting a playoff place, you're in trouble. Let me know what you think of these three new managers in the comments. If you support one of these teams, are you happy with the hire? How do you see them doing? Will they still all be in a job this time next year? Not only do we have three new managers to talk about, but 46 rounds of fixtures. Click up here to see my take on yesterday's fixture release and what to look out for in the schedule.